The golden afternoon sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the quiet beach. The gentle roar of the waves mingled with the laughter of seagulls circling overhead, creating a soundtrack of peace that Adam Hayes rarely got to hear. He had brought his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, here for the day, a rare reprieve from the ceaseless grind of work and parenthood. Life as a single dad wasn't easy. 5 years had passed since his wife's sudden death, but Adam felt her absence in every quiet moment. There were bills to pay, carpentry jobs to finish, and bedtime stories to tell alone, and yet, here, with Lily building sandcastles at the water's edge, life felt simple, almost normal. Adam sat a few feet back from the tide, his jeans rolled up, toes buried in the sand. He watched Lily's small figure dart back and forth, collecting seashells and carefully sculpting towers of sand that defied gravity for a few fleeting moments before the tide claimed them. Her laughter rang like wind chimes in the breeze, and Adam allowed himself a smile he hadn't realized he'd been holding back. He felt lighter, if only for a few hours, and he treasured the sight of her pure joy. Then came the scream. "Daddy! That lady!" She fell. Lily's voice pierced the calm, trembling with panic. Adam's stomach dropped, his heart hammering in his chest. He swung around, spotting a woman sprawled near the water's edge, half submerged as the waves lapped at her. She wasn't moving. Her dark hair clung to her pale face, plastered with seawater, and her arms flailed weakly in the surf. Adam didn't hesitate. "Stay here, Lily," he shouted, his voice firm yet urgent. He sprinted through the sand and into the rolling waves, each step heavier than the last as water tried to push him back. Adrenaline fueled him, sharpening his focus. His mind cleared of everything except the woman struggling in the water. Reaching her, he grabbed her shoulders and hauled her onto the sand. She was limp, utterly unresponsive, and her lips were tinged blue. Panic threatened to overtake him, but he pushed it down. Years of handling emergencies while working construction, accidents, cuts, falls, had taught him the importance of staying calm, even when fear clawed at his throat. He knelt beside her, brushing wet hair from her face, feeling the chill of her skin against his palms. She wasn't breathing. He tilted her head back, checked her airway, and began CPR, placing one hand over the other, pressing down rhythmically on her chest while giving breaths at measured intervals. "Come on, breathe," he muttered, counting in his mind, willing life into her lungs. Lily crouched nearby, her small hands gripping the sand. "Daddy, is she going to be okay?" Her wide eyes, filled with worry, mirrored the storm in Adam's chest. "Yes, she's going to be okay," he said, though the truth of that statement felt fragile. He leaned closer, sealing his mouth over hers for a rescue breath, feeling the faint rise of her chest under his touch. The world seemed to contract to this single moment. The taste of saltwater, the rhythm of his hands against her ribcage, the desperate hope that she would come back to him. Seconds felt like minutes. His arms burned, his lungs ached, but he refused to stop. And then, just as despair began to creep in, it happened. She coughed. A sharp, ragged cough that sent seawater spraying over his arms and the sand. Her chest heaved, and her eyes flickered open, unfocused and wide with confusion. Adam exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he was holding, relief washing over him in waves as strong as the ocean behind them. "You're safe now," he said softly, brushing damp hair from her face. "You're okay." Her eyes, still unfocused, blinked up at him. I can't breathe," she whispered, trembling. "You're safe," he repeated, his voice gentle but firm. He eased her onto her side, tilting her slightly so she wouldn't choke on the remaining water, and stayed close, hands ready to support her if she collapsed. "Just breathe. I've got you." Lily crawled up beside them, her small fingers brushing the woman's arm. "Daddy saved you. He's really strong," she said proudly. The woman's lips curved into the faintest of smiles, fragile but genuine. Her eyes, a striking shade of green, held a mixture of fear, gratitude, and something Adam couldn't quite place. "Thank you, both of you," she murmured, her voice trembling. Adam studied her, noticing the way the sunlight highlighted her features, the delicate curve of her hands, the subtle elegance in the way she carried herself even in this vulnerable state. She was out of place here, stranded on this quiet beach, and yet here she was, alive because of him. "Let's get you warm," he said, helping her to her feet. She leaned heavily against him, her trembling form pressed against his chest as he guided her to the blanket he had laid out for Lily. He wrapped the towel around her, rubbing her back gently to chase away the chill. The ocean's roar faded into a distant hum compared to the rapid thumping of his heart. She looked up at him, her green eyes meeting his. "I thought I was gone," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "You're not," Adam said softly, steadying her against him. "I've got you." Lily's small hand tugged at his sleeve, her eyes wide. "Can we play now, Daddy?" she asked innocently, breaking the tension with childlike simplicity. Adam chuckled, the sound shaky but genuine. "In a minute, pumpkin. Right now, she needs to rest." The woman's gaze lingered on him, as if she were seeing him for the first time, really seeing him, not just a man on the beach, but someone who had risked everything to save a stranger. Something unspoken passed between them, a quiet understanding that this chance encounter meant more than either of them yet realized. Adam helped her sit on the blanket beside Lily, brushing the wet hair from her face one last time. He felt a strange warmth in his chest, a mix of relief, protectiveness, and an unfamiliar pull toward this mysterious woman. Whatever else she was, he knew one thing: he had just changed her life, and she had unknowingly touched his. The sun continued its descent, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, and Adam couldn't help but feel that this day, this single act of rescue, was only the beginning of something neither of them could have anticipated. The next morning, Adam was still processing the events of the previous day. The image of her pale, trembling form in his arms lingered in his mind, and he couldn't shake the strange pull he felt toward her. Lily was buzzing with excitement, insisting they go back to the beach to check on the mermaid, and Adam laughed, though his thoughts were elsewhere. It was mid-morning when a sleek black car rolled onto the sand parking lot near their small beach cottage. The tinted windows reflected the sunlight like mirrors, and Adam instinctively frowned. Out stepped the woman he had saved, now dressed in a simple yet impeccably tailored sundress that clung to her curves and seemed to command attention without asking for it. Her dark hair was loose, catching the sunlight in gentle waves, and her eyes, those striking green eyes, locked onto him immediately. "Good morning," she said, her voice carrying warmth but also an elegance Adam wasn't used to encountering in his quiet little town. "I wanted to make sure you and Lily are doing okay." Adam blinked, caught off guard by her appearance and the effort she had made. "We're fine, thanks," he replied, unsure how to respond to someone so polished yet so vulnerable the day before. "I'd like to thank you properly," she said, glancing at Lily, who had rushed forward with arms outstretched. "Would you both join me for lunch?" Adam hesitated. He wasn't used to handouts, and the thought of sitting in some fancy restaurant made him feel out of place in his jeans and worn t-shirt. But Lily's eyes sparkled with anticipation, and her little voice pleaded, "Please, Daddy." Adam let out a reluctant laugh. "All right, pumpkin, but don't expect me to know how to act fancy." The restaurant she chose was unlike anything Adam had seen in their town. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and soft piano music floated through the air, blending with the gentle hum of conversation. Waiters glided silently between tables, their uniforms immaculate. Adam felt instantly out of his element, tugging at the sleeves of his shirt as Lily's hand tightened around his. "This is nice," Adam muttered, glancing at the elegant decor. "It's my treat," Isabella said, smiling. "I insist." The meal began awkwardly for Adam, who was unaccustomed to silverware beyond the basics, but Isabella's easy charm put him at ease. She laughed at Lily's candid observations and questions, engaging with her as though Lily were the most fascinating person in the world. Adam couldn't help but watch her, noticing the subtle way she leaned in when Lily spoke, the patient kindness in her voice, and the genuine warmth in her smile. When it was Adam's turn to speak, he found himself talking more openly than he usually would, sharing pieces of his life that he typically kept private. He spoke of carpentry work that kept him up late at night, of trying to make ends meet, and of the small victories that made him proud as a single father. He spoke of Lily's first steps, her first words, and the nights when he had to comfort her through tears while trying not to cry himself. Isabella listened, her expression softening as he spoke. "You've done so much," she said quietly. "Raising her alone, working so hard, it must feel impossible at times." Adam shrugged, attempting nonchalance. "You just do what you have to do. She's my world. That's enough. You don't realize how rare that is," she replied, her eyes holding a look that made Adam pause. There was admiration, certainly, but also something more, a tenderness that seemed almost dangerous in its intensity. The meal continued, and Adam began to feel a strange, unfamiliar connection with her. It wasn't just gratitude or relief. There was something in the way she listened, the way she looked at him, that made him feel seen in a way he hadn't in years. The idea that someone like her could care for someone like him was almost impossible to comprehend. It wasn't until the maitre d' approached Isabella with formal deference, addressing her as Miss Cross, that Adam started to piece together the reality of who she was. Then came the sleek black car parked outside, the driver in uniform, and the subtle nods of respect from other patrons who had noticed her arrival. The realization struck him in a wave: she wasn't just anyone. She was wealthy, immensely so. As they left the restaurant, Adam tried to process the revelation. "Wait, who exactly are you?" he asked, his voice a mixture of disbelief and curiosity. Isabella paused, her gaze locking onto his. For a moment, Adam saw hesitation flicker across her features before she spoke. "My family owns Cross International Holdings. We're involved in several industries: tech, energy, real estate. I'm a billionaire, Adam." The words hit him like a punch. A billionaire. The woman he had saved from the surf, who had laughed at Lily's stories and spoken to him with such authenticity, was someone from a world he couldn't have imagined. Yet, here she was, standing before him, looking at him as though the money, the power, the status, none of it mattered. I don't know what to say," Adam admitted, stunned. "You don't have to say anything," Isabella said softly, stepping closer. "Yesterday, you didn't see me as a wealthy woman. You saw me as a person who needed help, and you acted without thinking of anything else. That means more than you can imagine." Adam swallowed hard, torn between disbelief and the undeniable attraction he felt. She reached out, her hand brushing his cheek lightly, and he felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the sun. "I don't care about the world I live in," she continued. "I care about the man who carried me out of the ocean and made me feel alive again." Lily tugged at Adam's sleeve, interrupting the moment with innocent curiosity. "Does that mean you'll come to the beach with us again?" she asked eagerly. Isabella's eyes softened, never leaving Adam's. "I wouldn't miss it," she said. Adam felt his chest tighten in a way he hadn't in years. In one day, his life had shifted in ways he never could have predicted. A single act of courage had connected him with someone from a world he never imagined he'd touch, someone whose presence now made him consider possibilities he had long thought impossible. As the black car whisked her away, Adam knew that this was only the beginning of a story, a connection, perhaps even love, that neither of them could have seen coming.